Just one last little thing here. Everybody says, I'm so sick of all this fighting. They never cooperated on anything. Oh, yes, they did. Once. They did. The Republicans offered a bill that said, let's have a bipartisan balanced budget commission so that as the economy comes back and we start to get revenues, we balance the budget. And lo and behold, the Democrats said, you're on. That's a really good idea. I'm glad you care about it for a change. And as soon as the Democrats accepted, the Republicans renounced the bill they had sponsored. You know why? So the commission was appointed anyway. And all the Republican budget hawks were on it. And former president of the University of North Carolina, my former chief of staff, Erskine Bowles, who brokered the balanced budget agreement, he's the co-chair for the Democrats. Former Republican leader from Wyoming, Alan Simpson, he's co-chairman with the Republicans. They're giving a report in December about how to really balance the budget. Why have the Republican congressional leaders rejected this report? Because this report is going to be based on arithmetic, same way we balanced the budget last time. It is not going to be a bunch of political flim-flam. You may not like the recommendations, but at least it'll be based on real math. Instead, they prefer the budget they have offered. They have two budgets. One of them gives 117% of the tax cuts to the top 5% of us to further erode the middle class and adds $1 trillion to the debt. That's the better budget. That's Representative Ryan's budget, their budget sheet. The other one, in the pledge they made to America, has been ridiculed by the Concord Coalition, a conservative, predominantly Republican group, as adding up to $3 trillion to the debt and being a total hoax. Folks, this is not real. Remember this statute. We need a fact-based election. We need thinking in the election. If you want to balance the budget, look at what he said. He has identified hundreds of billions of dollars in savings that Republicans and Democrats have agreed with him on. He's got a plan to save money in Medicare and Medicaid, and he's got a record of recovering waste. For you, Newt Gingrich admitted that if we really monitored Medicare spending, something Dr. Paul doesn't much want to do, we might be able to save $70 to $100 billion a year in our health care budget. So if you really want to do something about the deficit, you better vote for your Attorney General and not for the non-math candidate. What do these guys say they want? They say they want balanced budget, smaller government, more jobs, and low taxes. In the last 28 years, we've had 8 years of Democratic presidency, me, before the last 2 years, 20 years of theirs, 12 years on one side of mine, 8 years on the other. In the 12 years before I became president, they quadrupled the debt of the country. Ask Senator Wendell Ford, it's the first time in history we ever institutionalized deficit spending in America. We had never done it. When I was a boy, the Republicans were truly conservative. They believed you always balanced the budget, except when there was a terrible recession and the government had to keep things going. They favored state and local government over the federal government, the private sector over government, but whatever you did, you ought to pay for it. So President Eisenhower gave us the interstate highway system. President Nixon gave us the Occupational Safety and Health Agency. He would be appalled to hear a Republican say we ought to repeal mine safety. Even signed the Environmental Protection Act because people were getting cancer from chemicals. And children were getting asthma from dirty air. These people are not conservative. They've taken a different view. They say they're for trickle-down economics, and it's really all about pushing up. So they quadrupled it down the country. Then I gave you 4 balanced budgets. It took me 4 years to balance a budget. We paid $600 billion down on the national debt, and what Jack said was right. I left a $230 billion surplus for President Bush, and if they had just kept my budget, this country would be out of debt by 2015, even with this recession, for the first time since Andrew Jackson was president in 1832. But what did they do? When they had it, these people that are telling you they're fiscal conservatives, what did they do? First thing out of the box, they repealed arithmetic. The Democrats followed a rule called pay as you go. If you want to do something, you had to pay for it. You either had to go raise the money and look people in the eye, or you had to quit doing something else. That was what we did. So I'll give you just one example. I wanted to put 1.6 million kids in after-school programs because they had working parents and they were home alone and they needed help. We did it, but we saved the money by cutting out something else. And it gave you those 4 surpluses. What did they do? They got rid of pay-as-you-go. They fought 2 wars, gave the seniors that drug benefit with the donut hole, and did the best thing President Bush did. He did that great PEPFAR program to help people all over the world with HTB and malaria, but they borrowed the money from China to do it. So what happened? They became our banker, and we quit enforcing our trade laws. Trade enforcement dropped by 80%. We lost manufacturing jobs for 8 years. We eroded the middle class more because they forgot arithmetic. If you really want to balance the budget, here is your United States Senate. I told somebody the other day that I couldn't figure out why I had not become the poster child for the Tea Party movement. If you listen to what they say they want more jobs. We had more jobs in our 8 years than in their 20 years before the meltdown. 100 times as many people worked their way from poverty into the middle class, the old-fashioned American way. The welfare rolls went down by 60%. It was the only balanced budgets, 4 balanced budgets in 28 years, all in my term. It was the only time when the bottom 20% of our working families increased their income in percentage terms the same as the top 20% in the whole 28 years. And the government was exactly the size it was in Dwight Eisenhower's last year as president. 50 years ago when John Kennedy was elected president, it was bigger on both sides. Where's the love from the Tea Party when I need it? Folks, don't be played. I love you. I want you to do well. I understand why people are mad. I understand why they think there's been overreach. I understand that people don't feel better. They don't feel better because all the new jobs are going to come in that. Remember I said we were 70% of the way back? All the new jobs are in the last 30%, and we get out of this hole and we go on into the future. But we're moving, and I can see it out there. I'm pleading with you. I've been all over the country. This guy, when he speaks, says more about where we need to go, what we need to do, how we need to do it, than any challenger anywhere in the country running for the Senate. He has the most amazing. I was an attorney general. He's made an amazing record for you. He's made that office come alive and do things that actually saves money and lives. You're not going to get a chance very often to send someone this young, this vigorous, this independent, unencumbered by past obligations to Washington, not having to play party games, just doing what's right for you. This is not about left and right. It's about right and wrong and tomorrow versus yesterday. Choose right versus wrong. Choose tomorrow versus yesterday. You got a whole day. You can get thousands of more votes. Go out and do it. You will always be proud of yourself, and Kentucky will be better off. I love you. Thank you.
Good day, Mr. President. Thank you.
He put his arm around me.
Awesome. That is amazing. Right there. He needs to know.
Did you get it?